Material Components, Season 2, Episode 89, Lorikus Logistics. Greetings and welcome to Material Components, the actual play RPG show all about a galaxy of magic and the adventurers who live there. I am your humble dragon master, Mike Gargoni, and joining me, as always, are my stalwart adventurers. Hey, adventurers, thanks for being here.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, betcha. Woohoo.
I just want to clarify, the top of my teapot fell into my teacup because I'm, anyways.
The best part about this is that Mike will have to edit out both my sneeze immediately upon starting recording and that from this.
I'm sure we'll have some.
No, it's all staying
It's
in,
leaving it in.
I think it's all staying in.
Oh, shoot. That's the real fuck you to us.
What if 1 week, I just didn't edit out any background sounds and sent you all that version of the episode?
You know what you should do? You should take background sounds that you've edited out of other videos and just layer them on in this one, so it's just like a cacophony. I think it's a great idea.
My cat rubbing up against my microphone.
It
It's
would
like
be
the anti-episode.
Elliot coughing. It would be Olivia adjusting her microphone. It would be Maggie screaming in the background of listeners.
Yeah.
And for Reed, it would be all the time he gets a little too close to the microphone and breathes real heavy. Exactly.
You know what would be a really good idea?
And for me, it would be
we all
me cracking
introduced
my knuckles
ourselves.
in my nose. Yeah, Olivia, who are you?
Absolutely. I'm no one. I'm the mic adjuster, I guess. I guess
How
that's
did
all I
you
am
know
to
that
you
was my
people.
next character?
No, I'm Olivia, and I'm playing Florina Bacalar.
I'm Elliot, the sickly Victorian child, and I am playing Shay, the elven wizard.
I am Michael. I'm the loud tea drinker, and I will be playing Oswald, Octavian Theophilus III.
I'm Reed and I'm the heavy breather. And I'll be playing Amari.
Indeed.
bad.
And it would be really funny if I edited out the part of me actually explaining all of those things and just had your intros be those.
Matcom out of context.
And of course, before we begin today's episode, I have to ask the same question I ask every time, and that is, Michael, do you remember what happened last time?
I do. Let's see. First, Reed breathed really heavy into the microphone, like directly in.
Damn it.
And then Maggie laughed in the background. And Elliot coughed a bunch. And that's really all.
It's really all that ever happens.
Yeah. No, what actually happened was we had a long, in-depth, it was kind of a combat encounter of words, really, which was a interesting, fun, new thing. So we basically, our mission was to meet with Cassandra, who is the sister of Hector Lorikus, and she is a reporter for the Farmstead Oracle, I think, which is a pretty anti-establishment newspaper here in sort of the middle of the empire, which is cool. So it seems like it could be a useful ally to have. There was sort of some there's a lot of distrust going both ways with this conversation. Obviously, we made her get all the way out here in no time at all. But we were able to convince her. And that was because I rolled 1,000,000 dice and crit 5 times. But now I'm useless for the rest of the mission. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to do everything else. Yes, so with that revelation, we basically explained everything that we've been sort of researching and finding and investigating. Everything except for the fact that we have Project Chimera on our ship and are raising Project Chimera like our child. We left that part out, but everything else, very honest about. I think
I would say I'm not
we should be
raising it
proud.
like my child because I'm
'cause
actually
it's
around
been
this
time.
one.
Yeah.
Kind
So-
of. I would say you're
Yeah.
around Mara the least. So if anything, there's some echoes there. There's some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. At least I'm
I
consistent.
can't wait till
Maybe-
she meets her half siblings and they can bond over your absentee parenthood.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. And because the roll was so high, we kind of learned that based on like our backgrounds, each of us, it's very clear that there's some sort of guided force that has put us together for the sole purpose of investigating Project Chimera. Whoever that is, we're not totally sure, although there's plenty of possibilities there. But and the other thing that is clear is that once we got Mara, we were no longer being tugged along by some sort of overarching force or whatever. We're doing our own thing. So let's not fuck it up.
Some kind of thread.
Some kind of thread, you know?
No, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like us.
No. Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
But yes, indeed. Over the course of the conversation, you managed to secure the allegiance of Cassandra Lorikus via a very potent PowerPoint presentation and, logic and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Good for us.
And honesty. Look at
A
us.
lot of honesty, yes. I wouldn't say
A
100%
lot.
honesty, but a lot. Like 87% honest.
Selective honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It is a little difficult to tell somebody that there is a digital child living on your spaceship that sort of looks exactly like her. That
I
is,
mean, that's really the
Mhm.
biggest
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So that's a conversation for future you, and just going to kick that can right on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
To us. Still.
That is usually where the can goes.
Mm-hmm.
As we ended last session, Cassandra asked a very salient question, and that is, how can I help? She is willing to aid you all in your quest to find her brother, because you've made it clear that you don't want her brother dead, and she likes that plan. That's a good plan in Cassandra's book.
Still don't understand that, but whatever. To each their own.
It would have been very awkward for us if she had been like, "Oh, I actually hate my brother. He's a dick." We would have been like, "Well, shit."
You did find out that there is apparently a false Hector walking around that Cassandra has had some not so nice interactions with at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That might be
That's true.
something to follow up on or avoid entirely, as depending on your mood, I suppose.
I like that second option.
I think that one, yeah.
Yeah.
But leastways, as this conversation winds to a close on the evening of the 10th of Waithius, you still find yourselves at the College of Needholg, in a room sequestered away at the monastery section of that college. You've been afforded this room by the local orcs of the God's Eye Fellowship, thanks to your trade that you've made in handing over a dangerous piece of technology that they didn't want to see floating around in the galaxy, and quite frankly, neither did y'all.
Good
It was
trade.
not locked away at all. So
No.
Nope.
it's probably better that they have it.
Yes.
Kind of got rattled around, when we got infiltrated. So
Well, I didn't just leave it on my floor. It was like
On a shelf.
on a shelf. Yeah,
Yeah.
gosh. It's like you think I'm irresponsible or something. God.
It was under the bed.
Yeah.
that's where I put everything.
Been using it as a bedside spittoon.
Nasty.
Brother
Nasty.
Hume's like, actually, we don't want this.
Somehow you have found a way to make it functionally useless all on your own. Excellent.
All right. Yeah.
So, the four of you now have to consider what you would want to do with Cassandra. She is willing to help you out in tracking down her. Listen, you're making a neck snapping motion, and I'm really curious as to why. Okay.
I was also gonna make that joke. Yeah.
Do it.
This has all just been a test to see how convincing we were.
Oh God.
Sure.
We're just XP farming, baby.
That's not how this
Christ.
system works, but okay.
Overcame an enemy.
As long as I kill her using a tactic die other than my giants.
Yeah. And all
One
assist.
XP, yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, what is all of y'all's next move? You can either continue this conversation with Cassandra here, or you can take it elsewhere. It's up to you. But she seems committed to this cause, as you've laid it out thus far.
Oswald sits down in the corner. Is like, all right, time for a nap.
Yes, and just as a reminder, as Oswald went all in during the presentation to sway Cassandra, that means you can no longer use any of your own personal Aether dice. I don't even know if you have any of those left.
Nope.
But that doesn't stop you from using external Aether dice from other sources, and absolutely doesn't stop you from acting meaningfully either. But yeah, until you get a downtime session, your own Aether pool is no more.
We communicated with Cassandra fairly easily before, but I am slightly worried about any potential communication we have not being secure, or having someone else be privy to our conversations. So if we had another way, if we had an extra data pad or anything like that we could establish communication with her,
like a burner.
I feel like, yeah,
I'll give her one of my burners.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It also that's probably a good idea. And so far in this campaign, we've not had any trouble encrypting data in order to get to people. We haven't seems to have any data leaks from the files that Shay has.
It helps that you've
not sent it
I
to
mean,
most people.
I've made a point also to say that I'm encrypting, which is, I mean, that's part of it, right? Either I've rolled really well or I've said I am encrypting the fuck out of this.
No, what I was going to say is you've gone out of your way to tell me that you're doing it every time. And so, yeah, it hasn't been an issue because you have been doing it. And you have somebody on your team who that is a thing that they do on the reg. So you've been doing it with bells on.
Cool. So let's make sure we do that with this one as well. One of those things well, if we didn't say it, then who knows? But
right. And your original method of contacting her was so circumspect. I assumed that was part of that whole thing was you were being really cagey about getting in touch with her to begin with to try to throw the trail off here. And giving her not a lot of time to get here also probably helped with that. And you took all the right steps, I think.
Excellent.
So if you want to give her a burner data pad, that's totally on you. I don't know if there will be any more secure communications between that and I guess the way it would be more secure is people wouldn't assume that she had that, so they wouldn't be monitoring it as much as opposed to her personal call set. Yeah. So totally fair. Any extremely good metadiver could probably figure out that she's accessing the metanet from another location, but that assumes a level of skill on someone monitoring her.
Which, if anybody is monitoring her, it would be someone from Aegis Tech because she has made a stink in the past about trying to see Hector. So, again, Shay would probably have that in mind. And, whether or not I would be able to be good enough against that, I don't know, but
I think that would require that would require time and energy to sit down and comb through her own personal data set and figure out if she's got any people tapping her lines, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something you could figure out in a couple of minutes sitting here in the middle of a college without any of your, like...
Probably just best to assume that she does.
Yeah, that's fair.
And communicate accordingly.
Yeah.
So, out of character question for everyone. Did we spend this past week thinking of things that she could help us with?
Oh shit, what happened to my phone?
Because if not, this might be a short episode.
Yeah.
I mean, so one of the things, at least in the group chat that we started, was asking about like ways in which we could confirm that we are actually working with her. Should we get in touch specifically with Hector, and like build that level of trust with him? Because if we just say, hey, we're working with your sister, and he's already very cagey and secretive about his stuff, you know.
Oh, she actually already gave us that.
She did?
She did,
correctly. Yeah.
What was it?
It's a story about from when she was in school. There was a changeling child, and Hector was the one who identified them.
Cool. Okay.
Because
cool.
nobody
Excellent.
Believed her.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Making a mental note of that. Oop, I forgot. It's gone. Sorry. It's gone.
Well, I'm making a literal physical note.
That sucks because we do rely on you, Reed, to remember.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly, my nickname is the Rememberer. Everyone call Reed the Rememberer, if I recall correctly, which I don't.
Yes, exactly. Well, I basically, she has a bunch of, I mean, we could obviously share a lot of the information that we've found. But one important thing, if any of this is going to be published in, say, an article or something, is having different sources. So we've got one big source. So having her look into other ways to verify this information from other angles might be a good idea. But obviously there's so much information that maybe we'll want her to start somewhere specific, I guess.
Keep in mind that the source of information you have right now is morally dubious, let us say, because it is legitimately stolen data from a corporate entity. Admittedly, you found it under circumstances that, like, the place had already been destroyed, so, like, maybe looters' rights comes into certain aspects of this, but...
Oh, and we found it on, like, the course of what was technically, ostensibly a charitable mission.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't do the...
A good lawyer could argue that the parameters of our mission would include extracting data to try to figure out what happened because of the fact that there was a distress beacon, et cetera, et cetera.
One of the reasons you currently have a bounty out on all of you, though, is because you are being accused of corporate malfeasance and theft.
It's true.
Yeah. Now, a good lawyer could argue that Mara is a sapient and sentient being and has rights, but again, do we want this to go to court?
But if Mara is considered a child, what kind of rights does a child have as opposed to a full-grown?
Parents' rights. I respect parents' rights. Parents' rights to shut the fuck up.
And that might be a conversation you have with Hector.
That's true. Yeah, actually.
A potential other line of help could be from her contacts. If she, so she has some sort of connection to the Duke, but she potentially has other contacts in her list of, known associates from being a journalist.
Right.
That, like, might be interested in having this information if we don't go public with it. Like, it might, if it's something that we might need to pass on. privately, she may have an idea of where to pass that to.
And she would have a good idea of like how to be careful with this information and make sure that the correct people get it or the incorrect people do not get it, if that
Probably
makes
more than
sense.
us, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
You all have the benefit of not being directly connected to much of the Canis Empire's political landscape. So she might be able to give you a decent lay of the land in terms of like who to ostensibly trust, but also she is intrinsically tied into this system in a way that none of you are. So like you all having this information is maybe one of the safer routes to go, simply because you're not tied into this system.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, we did go over briefly, like she does have direct contact with someone in the orbit of the Duke, who is the brother of the Empress of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
She did sort of say she didn't want to lean on that connect.
Unless it was serious.
Yeah.
She has some kind of contact with somebody who could get her in that orbit, but she doesn't want to abuse that relationship for the sake of journalism, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a personal bridge she'd rather not burn for the sake of a story, but if it is important in some way, at this point she could probably be convinced, especially considering she now knows kind of the scope of Project Chimera. You're dealing with stuff that isn't just simple politics at this point. These are big stakes.
Yeah.
And we still don't fully know what they wanted to do with Mara after Mara gets fully developed, and I'm assuming they had something in mind for her.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't just they weren't just doing it for fun.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't just like, why not? So yeah, maybe
some of your party might have more insight into
but
possible
I
reasons.
don't want to say anything because the chances are of it being true are 50-50, and those are not great odds.
That's fair.
It would be if the
warlock
party knew about this. I would say we could potentially like bring her in as poking into verifying that information.
The possibility, right? Yeah.
But
if the Warlock of Storms was lying to you, it's obviously just a wild goose chase. If he's telling the truth, then it implies a incredible amount of manipulation on the part of the Court of Air within the Empire, which you kind of have already taken as rote simply because of that relationship that the Court of Air has with the Empire. But whether or not Cromwell Silvaro was on board with that aim, you don't know.
Yeah.
And also, I think it even calling it a, like, if Ariel is lying, it's just a wild goose chase. Like, I think that is dangerously reductive, because I think that it is dangerous to go poking into the
about him.
I don't know, who can say. But going around and poking around and even implying that one of the courts is missing a lady is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, we did also, kind of have agreed as a party that we don't want to start a house war. Starting a court war would probably have similar effects.
Maybe
worse.
Way worse.
Maybe worse.
Just in terms of the scale, I mean. Like, it'd be bad.
You were explicitly shown by the Archproctor, at least in broad strokes, that every time the Fae courts have gone to war, it has destroyed their previous homes.
Yeah.
And it
and
has
their
apparently
current
happened.
Home is the internet.
Yeah. Their current home is A, here, and B, everywhere.
Oh, well, if it's going to destroy the internet, then I think we should do it.
So what are y'all doing? What's your next step?
Do we just want to put a
curls into a little ball and sleeps.
Our little lizard bird boy.
Just for a FYI, going all in doesn't necessarily mean your character is now comatose. It just means you've put in your maximum effort for the mission.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, Oswald is just curling up and going to sleep.
Yeah, why not?
Lots of reasons, but
he's been having a rough couple of
lifetimes.
Phases?
It's just
lifetimes.
You know, a good PowerPoint presentation should take it out of you because it's made of blood, sweat, and tears, and you give up a little bit of yourself every time.
God,
that explains high school for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we could say, let's put a pin in what exactly your role is going to be, and get out of Dodge.
And then we contact her when.
I just feel like we should give her something to do.
Yeah.
So she's not a loose.
Because otherwise, she's gonna probably look into it no matter what. So giving her a specific...
so having some direction is probably.
I mean, finding Hector's not a bad option.
Well, she's already kind of she's been doing that and has not had any luck.
Yes, but we have a bunch of information on what he's been up to.
It's true.
We can at least give her the Typhon as a starting point.
Sure.
And let her know that it's super hard to break into and out of. So to just be careful with that one.
Don't worry about how we know that. Just know that it is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's probably not going to be possible to do again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by again, we of course mean for the first time ever.
For the first time.
Who would attempt such a thing?
Yes. Legally speaking,
such a thing?
Next time, if there was a next time, because there was never a first time, we wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
A group wouldn't go through a MetaNet access point. They might just show up physically there. It's the last thing they would expect.
Exactly. But yeah, we can. So yeah, we can give. So what we give her information on Hector or Cromwell Silvaro, because we do get this guy out of I don't know, the Aegis Tech maybe.
I guess use her as a person who can dig up as much information as she can using her contacts. Right? She has
maybe how the other corporations feel about Aegis Tech.
Because there
was feel about.
Was there not a rumor that the Varmstead Oracle was in the pocket of another corporation specifically?
Correct.
Which was it?
Zolkon Industries.
Zolkon.
Because because they're tied to the first.
That's right.
House.
Yeah.
Yes.
And expressly, there were rumors that you dug up that Cassandra specifically took payments from them.
Okay. Perhaps we lean into that relationship a bit. Who knows what information could be dug up from that, or at least leveraged. I don't necessarily want to make her beholden to them any more than she already is, but if there's information there that could be gleaned, then great.
She could even poke into other potential routes of other weak points in the Silvaro house's relations with other houses / Aegis Tech's relations with other corporations.
And I guess too, right? If in the same way that we currently break into networks and stuff like that, you find access points that are not necessarily related to the information that you're actually looking for. You find other weird tangential points and then go through that. So if there's other Aegis Tech is researching MetaNet hats for dogs,
It's a very lucrative field.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
I want my dog to be on the internet.
Maybe their security through there, some other project is not as strong, and we can make contact through some tertiary.
The trick is downloading your dog onto the MetaNet. That's the real trick.
Yeah. Try with a cat. Even harder.
Wouldn't download a dog.
Yeah.
That assumes that cats aren't already on the metanet.
Cats control the metanet.
Mm-hmm.
Cats are fey. It is known.
That
honestly.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
I mean, I don't know if that's specific enough or if that's.
If you start suggesting some of these routes for Cassandra, she's nodding along and kind of understanding what her role might be in this is like an information broker type.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "And when do we leave?"
Oh, girlfriend.
Oh
no.
Well,
I don't. Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily want to be exactly where we are.
If you're going after Hector, then I want to be wherever you are.
Fair enough.
How
Amari's just taking inventory.
Okay.
How many rooms do we have? We have
you
space
might
for more?
actually
Well,
not
we have
have
space.
enough.
No, we do because Kala
Kala's no longer on the ship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Right. Oof. Ugh. Cassie
Do
girl. You're gonna have to get really cool about a lot of stuff really quick.
Perhaps for your safety. Let's just say we have run into things that you would not believe.
She glances at the shotgun she took out of her coat, glances back up at you. You want to talk to me about my safety?
Yes, but there are things that your device there would not assist you with. Amari, your military background. Explain why it'd be dangerous for someone to, join along.
I understand it's going to be dangerous. I'm accepting that risk.
Yes.
No, that's fair enough. Perhaps you just flying here where we're located, getting on board our ship, and flying off into the stars right now isn't the best way to go about that. Perhaps you could book some sort of vacation somewhere. We meet up at another location and do it that way.
Okay, if we want to treat this a little bit more circumspect, sure. Where do you have in mind?
You want to come to
Been
Vani'kel with
to
us?
Vani'kel before? There's a party happening, you see.
Okay, again, then we're gonna have to decide as a team how we deal with the whole Mara thing.
This
But
gives
at
us
least this
time
buys us
to
some
go-
time.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really my
Oh.
idea here. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like
Uh-huh.
let's meet up at a different
yeah.
location. It's like we need to come up with a fucking plan for the Mara thing. How are we looking on time for between now and the launch party of Samba Surprise?
Are you asking me, or are you asking the person who has to worry about this sort of thing?
If you ask me, we don't have enough time. We have to go now. We need to leave.
Okay, all right.
We should have
Now-
been there already.
We should be there right now.
Because I believe the date of the party is something of Premium. I have it written down somewhere. I want to say it's somewhere in the teens.
Sounds right.
I'd have to go back to my notes. But yes, I believe it is next month. Sometime like early.
Oh, I really should.
But leastways. Yeah, you have time to get there as of right now. Absolutely you do.
Okay, good.
Because if we look at our handy-dandy galaxy map, we will see that Vani'kel and the vaguely you're near Imperia in terms of like the center of Imperial power. So you're closer to Vani'kel than not. Good. You're somewhere between Vani'kel and Imperia as presented on the galaxy map.
Gotcha.
By the way, it's the 3rd of Premium.
Oh, actually, you got less than a month.
Shit.
Gotta
Fuck,
go.
we gotta go now. We have to leave.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get Oswald's present finished.
Oh, right. Yes, we're doing gifts now, everyone. So start thinking of what to give me.
Yeah, so you have...
What do you get for the man who has nothing?
Anything.
It's weird.
You
Another knife showed up for my wife.
You have roughly 29 days until the party.
Mike, I think you mean turns.
Nope. Turns
A rock.
refers explicitly to when you are on a planet and it is turning. Days is a colloquial word used for the passing of 26 imperial hours.
A rock falls on Amari and he dies.
The thing is, Mari ignored everything that was just said because it won't be remembered.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 29 turns until then.
Yes. So we should we're on a bit of a schedule. So shall we? This has been a great conversation. Lovely. Yes. This way, out the door. Yes. Shall we?
Cassandra would ask, so what's the plan?
Would you mind meeting us on Vani'kel in Oswald, what? 29 to 30 days?
Turns, yes. Yes, 30.
I
yes,
believe,
yes.
yeah, not turns. It's not turns. Days, it's 26. Standard Imperial.
Hours.
Hours.
No, I refuse. But yes. Yes, you can meet us on Vani'kel.
What happens on Vani'kel in 29 turns?
I mean, we have some business we need tending to.
You a 12 Loco fan?
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink.
Then
Like anything?
30 days probably is best.
Alcohol.
Oh, yes. that
Oh,
makes
12
more
Loco
sense.
is not just an alcoholic beverage. It is a way of life.
I was about
It's
to
an
say it's a way of
experience.
life.
Legally distinct from alcohol.
Oh, Christ.
It's distinctly not an alcohol.
Similar effects, but legally distinct.
We're not
It is
allowed
a
to call it
controlled
alcohol
substance.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol has like a scientific definition that 12 Loco does not actually fall under.
Well, it's because 12 Loco, its state changes, rapidly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ethanol is like a specific substance. 12 Loco is, as I said, a way of life.
There's different states of matter. There's liquid, there's gas, there's solid, plasmas, a couple other in between states, and then there's 12
there's
Loco
12
that
Loco.
occupies all of them at the same time.
And yet,
God,
none of them.
has 12 Loco been chunky this whole time and nobody's told me?
Yes.
Depends on when you drink
Actually, I do think that has been established that it's chunky.
Depending on the temperature,
I hate
depending.
this. I hate every single part of
It's
this.
chunky in the way that like certain juices or tap water is chunky. There's like a mineral residue that you can have on the tongue.
Certainly, the Samba Surprise is chunky. Okay, what do you think the surprise is?
Yeah.
Tar?
We, Verbal Corp cannot say that tar is not in Samba Surprise.
It's fruit, asterisk.
They're like, hey, the tobacco industry does it. We can do it too. Tar and everything.
So you want Cassandra Lorikus to meet you on Vani'kel during, if not directly after the party?
I think after might
After, yes.
but
Yes,
we might need to
after.
make a quick exit, depending
As we
on
do
how it goes.
with so
What?
many things.
But why would we have to? We don't have to make a quick exit.
Historically, we often do have to make quick exits from places, especially because
It's just good
as
to
we-
plan for it.
We're being tracked.
Right. Yes.
As of-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, are we gonna have some sort of protection? Just,
this-
being at this party, like, oh, it's a Vorpal Corp thing, so, like, it's off limits?
It would be an incredibly bad taste if operators from one corporate entity invaded the premises and event of another corporate entity.
Which is why it's probably going to be Red fucking Bartlett that shows up.
The only person dumb enough.
And tacky enough.
And tacky enough.
He's the
Most
real
importantly.
Samba Surprise.
Perhaps, in light of all of what we just said, perhaps meeting on, like, an adjacent planet or somewhere nearby might be a better idea. Maybe after the event. Unless you want to come to the premiere of
the Samba Surprise.
Surprise.
I just don't want to lose track of all of you. If this is as dangerous as y'all been describing, then there's a very good chance that wherever this takes you might do so unexpectedly. And if you get to Hector without me, I'd be quite angry.
Well,
we wouldn't do that, though.
Well, not on purpose.
I mean, if it meant getting to
unless
Hector
he's
and
at the
saving
Samba.
everyone, then yeah. But
unless he's at the Samba Surprise party, then we would
Highly
be doing
unlikely.
that. But
Very
we don't know what he drinks. I suppose you would.
Oswald,
Yes?
roll me a knowledge check real quick.
God.
Just roll your knowledge talent die and tell me what the result
Just
is.
knowledge?
Yeah,
Okay.
just-
Great.
yeah.
Great. 2.
Okay, yeah, there's no way Hector or anyone connected to Project Chimera would show up at this party. Seems unlikely.
Oh my god.
I don't want to know.
Guys, this is about to be a bad party we go to.
I'm so excited.
All right.
I've been telling you.
Uh,
I have been telling you.
yeah, to be perfectly frank, and I know this is going to make it seem like never mind, I won't caveat it. This is technically unrelated, this venture to Vani'kel. We hope to make connections and learn information, but it is sort of a side venture, and your time may be wasted if you come with us.
Okay, whatever. I can meet you before, after, whatever. A month gives me plenty of time to wind things down, put everything in motion to make it look like I'm leaving nice and natural-like.
And that might be best as well.
I definitely have some vacation time saved up. So maybe get a hold of me after you're done with whatever this is. In the meantime, I'll lay the groundwork for me getting out of here and meeting back up with all of you.
Sounds good.
Yes. Sounds like a plan.
Much obliged.
And in the meantime, you keep all that data you got from Hector's safe.
Oh, yes.
Preferably out of the hands of anyone connected to Aegis Tech or the Silvaros in general. It is
Preferably at anyone's hands at all.
Yeah.
I would say while you're in Imperial space, don't trust anybody connected to either of the Senates. Anyone connected to any of the corporations. Anyone connected to any of the planetary governments. Anyone connected to the legions. Anyone connected to the Imperial Navy. Anyone connected to any of the high houses.
Listen, no offense to you and your nation, but I don't think anyone here, Oswald may be excluded, trusts any of your people in general. Not to be like weird about it, but all of us kind of have our own beef.
Look, there's plenty of individuals in the Empire that can probably help you out. Just make sure they're not connected to the government.
Right. Yes. Makes sense.
If you're headed to Vani'kel, then you're outside the Empire, but there's going to be plenty of Imperial bigwigs at some kind of big corporate party. Vani'kel's still got very close ties with the Empire.
It's sort of what we're counting on, but yeah, we ain't going in there trusting anyone.
Yes.
Just like a little side glance over to Oswald, like
He's nodding emphatically.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, well, is there anything else I can get for you before you all take off? Otherwise, I think it would probably be best if we cut communications until we meet back up in person.
Agreed.
Yeah,
But,
we'll
That would
send
be
you.
for the best.
We'll send you one message with the location encrypted by Shay here.
She will
And
hold
that'll
up
be
the
it.
burner pad you gave her and nod. So if you have any last questions for Cassandra, now's the time.
Who's Paulo? No, I'm not going to ask
Who
that.
is Paulo, though? Like,
It would be okay. I get we all love the naming conventions, but it would be so weird for us to suddenly be invested in
true.
this one chick's romantic interest? Question mark.
that's true. But that's the thing. We just don't know.
Who can say?
Could say. You can, Mike.
I
You
can.
Yeah.
I know
I won't.
all about Cassandra's relationships, or lack thereof.
Well, shall we go?
Okay. With that, Cassandra thinks it would be best if she left first and y'all waited a beat until she got clear. She asks you give her like 15, 20 minutes. She will pack up her gun and her aether-proof or aether-deflecting vest and her recording device, which she turned off at a certain point, and pack up and leave. She will shoot you all one last glance before she goes out the door, and it's a tough expression to read. It's a little bit of a combination of, like, wariness, but also, like, this seems like to have given her some level of hope that she maybe didn't have before.
Yeah.
Because you've confirmed a lot of what she believed about what was going on with her brother. And then she will take off. The four of you are left by your lonesome. Eventually, a member of the monastery will poke his head in the door and make sure you are okay.
Probably take that as our cue to leave.
Seems to be
As long
the
as it's been
unsaid.
long enough.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Picking yourselves up, you leave the monastery?
They gotta kick us out. They've got a group coming in. They've rented the room. We never noticed the karaoke box.
Yeah, it's a
in
birthday
the corner.
party.
Yeah.
Someone's going to use the space for contemplative meditation.
And karaoke.
And karaoke.
As we leave.
I
You
mean,
can do both
that's
at the
how
same
it,
time.
that's how a Gretzico does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
We hear Headstrong by Trapped playing as we're walking away. Ooh.
Ooh, rough day.
Yeah.
Head back to the Tiresian, which is still parked at the college, so it's not that far. Arriving back, you find there are two people eagerly waiting your arrival back, one being Vesnus, who is effectively trapped on the ship and is living vicariously through you all as you go out and experience this world. And one is Mara, who is not visible when you arrive back, but there is a palpable sense of, it's that noise you get when like an intercom is open, but no one is saying anything. It is digital anticipation.
Is there heavy breathing?
Nope,
I
Mara
can
doesn't
do that.
breathe.
I was just about to say, because if so, Reed needs to stop.
I almost did it. I almost did it. Trying to cut down on Mike's editing time for this one.
Hey, don't worry about me. What else do I got to do on a Sunday?
Other things.
Maybe. So yeah, what is the plan? Do you have anything else you want to do on Varmstead, or are you getting out of here?
I don't want to go find this fake Hector. Like,
I
I'm
don't
so
either.
curious, but it seems like such a bad idea.
I like, if they have stuff like their decoy is working just fine, why would we draw attention to
Why would
ourselves
we
that
mess
we
with
were
it? Yeah.
looking? Yeah, that we're looking for Hector.
Exactly.
You can't help yourselves.
It's very
'Cause I
true.
just
Maybe
wanna
we should just
know.
go knock on the door. We should just go say
a little
hi.
peek. Just a little
Yeah,
peek. Just peek in the window.
Like, we're
Yeah.
selling magazines.
Yeah.
Is it a clone? Is it just someone with extensive plastic surgery?
Is it a shapeshifter?
Is it all of the above?
Yeah, we don't know.
No, let's leave it.
We never will.
Okay.
Not until Arcane Focus.
I was literally just about to say that. We're gonna be like, what the fuck was up with fake Hector?
Just bank that question for the end of the season. Okay. Yeah, that's when you can ask, what's up with fake Hector and who was Paulo?
Yes.
Yes, the first two questions.
Okay. All right, so you leave the planet?
Time to dip.
Okay.
Yes.
Time to get up and go.
Or we have to get into another fight.
That's totally fair. As you get up and go, you are leaving the planet. There's no problems where that's concerned. A straightforward trip to Vani'kel from Varmstead would take you about a turn span, so 6 days. If you go straight there. I don't know if there is any other destination y'all might have in the meantime. Like I said, you have there's time to kill if you choose to do so. You've really only spent like a day on Varmstead.
Shit done. Good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do we have leads that we could take care of on the way? Not really.
You're in the Empire, you're in the heart of the area that you might find more information about Aegis Tech Solutions, House Silvaro, like you're in the neighborhood.
Is Aegis Tech's corporate headquarters somewhere in this area? Should
100%
we go
yes.
visit? That's where we should deliver magazines to. I get calls like that at my job, spam calls like that all the time at my job. Can you confirm Oliver Silvaro is still your CEO? Can you confirm
you did it again?
Is this
Cromwell Silvaro.
Cromwell Silvaro. Oh my god, I just fuck Oliver Cromwell.
I mean, yes.
is the point of that brain fart.
The thesis of this entire campaign.
Yeah, we just don't have any like connections. So besides like random poking around.
Okay.
Oh wait, actually, blah blah blah. Are there any fucking secret moon bases that are in this area? It's been so long since we've consulted the list.
This is true. You do have a list that you took time to organize, figuring out where all of the secret moon bases are.
Let's go find a moon base.
There is one in this system.
Of course there is.
There has to be.
It's
the
not
temptation to work.
It's not on this planet, but it is in the other M-class planet in this system. It's a planet called Skog. It's a more industrialized planet than Varmstead, and it is yet another of the old holds, so it's like one of the centers of Imperial culture and power. There's a reason there is such a heavy naval and legion presence in this system, and that is because the shipyards of Skog are where a lot of the Imperial military shipping is done.
Is there a super carrier here?
I already told you there's a super carrier in this system.
Oh, that's right. I bet you I know where it's at. I bet you I know exactly which planets it's at.
Yeah.
That one.
Like, 100% the Heraclean is in this system.
Could go check it out.
Let's blow it up.
The secret moon base, as it were, is an Aegis Tech facility that is off the books, that is on the planet called Skog. It is not on one of their moons, but it is on that world.
Is there any determination in this data? Oh, gosh. Is there any way to cross-reference this data with the new Hector Lorikus data that we've received to determine, like, maybe what type of
what's being developed where?
Oh my god.
You could absolutely do that. It would take some time, but if you want to devote if you want to sit down and do that, you can 100% do that.
What do you guys think?
Well,
sure.
Okay.
If you want
to
to
find
do
an
that,
asteroid to latch onto and just kind of do some work.
I mean, nothing's stopping you from just kind of parking your ship out in space in between the two big planets.
That seems like something we would do. Right. If that's something that if that's a project that you all want to work on, then by all means.
Working on your big presentation?
I've been putting it off. You know that where you know you need to do it, but then when you think about it, you get really, anxious and you start shaking and then you're like, well, I'd rather think about anything. It's kind of like that. I haven't put any work into it yet.
Usually when I
put all of my...
I just do it. And then it's done. It's awesome. Because then you don't have to worry about it anymore, right?
Lorian is a real fantasy character for real wish fulfillment.
Hey, Elliot. Hey, Elliot, shut the fuck up.
Other than the crippling space madness, I would say that I am very envious of you.
Again, it has not debilitated me in any way whatsoever so far, so...
Oh. Well, I guess not you, just the person. You know what? We don't need to get into it.
Just everyone I care about and am around, generally.
So, yes, if somebody wants to take the lead on that, it does sound like something I would spear point. So I guess I could dedicate some time to it, but I really can't keep procrastinating on.
You should work on that project if it's important to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take care of the data stuff. Just don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, off to it, and then he scuttles off to his room to work up the courage.
It sounds to me like your current mission of finding a further lead on Hector Lorikus and securing some allies here on Varmstead is complete. Way to go. You've finished this mission.
Yay!
We did it.
You seem to be maybe about to start one of two other missions in terms of figuring out secret moon-based stuff and or going to Vani'kel to get your party down.
Yeah, again, like... The secret moon-based stuff also doesn't need to happen. It might be interesting to look into it to see if there's anything we can glean from it. We've gotten pretty big revelations in every moon base we've been to.
That's true.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, unless this one is also abandoned, like the one on Talgan 3, I don't think that we should go.
Agreed.
Based only on its location, you would be very certain.
It would be wild. Like, if everyone was on vacation at the same time, I think that maybe we could swing it, but...
There is a rather large Imperial holiday coming up soon, so maybe? I don't know.
Got it. Yes.
The first of Primian is a holiday called Bastion's Break, which is celebrated throughout the Empire and the Dominion, actually. It is a shared holiday.
It is, so it's the first of Primian? Just the first day?
Yeah, it doesn't give us a lot of time.
Well, wait, I'm not here.
Yeah. Your father having the big, launch party on the 3rd is actually because it's, the long weekend type thing. And that's, there's some thought on whether or not his birthday is that actual day or whether he chooses that holiday simply because of its proximity to the other day.
Yeah, we really haven't asked.
Oh man, hosts a big party on a long weekend where normally people would have a
corporate holiday. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Where attendance is highly encouraged.
So do you still want to look into the moon base that's there? Or do you just
what it is, but we could always just do that on our way to Vani'kel.
Sure.
Just be
I guess my question to the group is, are you making your way to Vani'kel or are you staying put in this system while you figure this information out?
I say we just float for a little bit and
I have a quick cue. I guess Oswald isn't here anymore. I was just curious if we show up early to Vani'kel, will your siblings be there already?
At least one of them would be.
Yeah.
The odds are very good that number 4 would already be there.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's a corporate flunky. Yeah, I forgot.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't
whether or
know
not number 2 would be there, maybe.
If it's gonna look like you're do we show up fashionably late for this shindig?
You show up exactly when instructed.
Okay, so we shouldn't show up early then, I guess, is my my point.
No.
Okay.
No. Exactly on time. We have staggered, times, it's numbered. So obviously number 1 gets to show up first, and number 2, and then 3, and then 4.
You'd think it'd be the other way around. It's like, usually it's like the main event happens last.
Well, the higher you are, the longer you get to be within Septimus's presence. I'm not actually in the room, so I need to.
Oh my god.
All right.
Every sentence is a nightmare.
It's just so much. It gets so much worse every time we talk about it.
Wait till you meet the guy.
What happens if he's just like super nice and we're like, oh no, you're supposed to be evil?
I'm gonna go ahead and get out in front of that right now. He is not a nice person.
Shocker,
Also,
really surprised.
Also, like if someone is nice to you, but you know that they are like literally abusive to your friend, are they a nice person?
Yeah, this might be spoiling a future session, but I am not going to try to pull the rug out from underneath you where Septimus is concerned.
Okay.
Turns out, like Oswald is just like
the worst child.
Gaslighted himself. Yeah, it's actually really shitty. And Septimus is like, this is the only way I could keep him managed.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's good, because that would also be deeply fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If y'all are gonna write these terribly abusive people into your fucking backstories, I will commit to what you have created.
Listen, Listman and Elliot, have fun with that. Reed and I will be over here with our vaguely,
normal,
weird
self-created problems.
Yeah.
Doing some research into the Aegis Tech facility on called Skog, especially if you cross-reference it with Hector's data, which, again, you haven't really taken the time to pick apart yet. You've spent a little bit of time doing that, but you really haven't devoted a lot of time, and maybe now is when you would start to do that. The facility on called Skog is specifically responsible for creating certain elements of Mara's body is the wrong word.
Design?
Architecture, I think, is the right word. There is a framework that needed to be created physically in the real world to mirror a creation in the metanet the way Mara was, as like a sentient creature.
So, and when we say a physical, are we getting determination about whether that is like an organic kind of structure, or...
It seems like there were a couple of different approaches, and the approach on called Skog was to create effectively a supercomputer capable of like AI learning. So like there's not a clone biological version of Mara floating around, if that's what you're asking.
Because then I would say, okay, we absolutely have to go get that, because she craves new experiences, and we're gonna go get a body for her.
Yeah. I haven't had time to build her a Mithrigan, so...
I'm worried not so much about a Mithrigan, I'm worried about an Ultron scenario here. Yeah.
I don't know. Have you
gasified Ultron?
Have you guys seen Mithrigan? Because that's what Mithorgan is gonna be. Is just Ultron.
Mithorgan, good, get out of here. Give me Matugan first, at least.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out a way.
The prequel.
I was trying to figure out how it plays into Fan 4 Stick, but it's
Yeah.
The data you see from that facility seems to indicate that, like, okay, what you're looking at isn't a person, But boy, wouldn't it be neat if we made an artificial thing that sort of looks like a person, so that when we transfer that architecture into the metanet, it like translates properly. So like H.R. Geiger is maybe putting it too specifically, but there is like a level of composition that went into creating this artificial framework architecture where it's like they made a machine that maybe vaguely looks like a person made of polysteel and gemstones. It's weird and angular, and it has like crystalline facets to it, but it is vaguely person-shaped.
How similar to the Mewtwo robot suit does it look?
Wow, that's a really good poll, actually.
A universally known thing too,
but it's so indelibly like ingrained in my brain as just like I know exactly what that is. Okay, so take the Mewtwo armor suit from Pokemon the first movie, replace all the Mewtwo bits with aethite crystals, and you've got a pretty good proximity of what I'm trying to describe here.
Guys, we need this. We need this so badly.
It, like, honestly sounds cool as hell.
It's very cool. Yeah.
Again, my Ultron scenario. Just want to keep that. Just
okay, but Reed, it's that, or she eventually decides she wants to take over a living person's body
again.
Like, yeah, but this time, like, potentially, maybe without their explicit consent,
and for keeps,
Yes.
No takes backs.
They're both bad. They're both bad.
It would actually also kind of solve our problem, because then when we met up with Cassandra, she wouldn't look like Cassandra. She would look like a weird little robot.
A weird little robot, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just 2 birds with 1 stone.
I love how y'all are just like, see, this solves our problem right there. No problem. Yep, we fixed the Cassandra problem. Yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
Look, I'm just hoping we eventually get to my stealth Small Wonder fan fiction that we've been building towards here.
Yeah. There's
That's actually Small Wonder is Matugan. Go watch some trailers for Small Wonder. You'll see what I mean.
Somebody had to say it, okay? And I'm glad we finally podcast.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
So are you acting on that information, or are you saying nope?
You could at least go check out security.
No.
Get within spitting distance.
Could we scan it from far away with our sensors?
They do have real good sensors.
From where you currently are with the Teresian sensors, you would be able to pick up the metric fuck ton of Imperial Navy that surrounds Kaldskog. A more thorough planetary scan would require you to get closer.
No, I'm super
think
good not going
I
there.
just don't like. It was bad enough with the like, what was it, like 1 or 2 ships above the moon, on Nogu. Like,
so here's the pitch. Here's the Danny Ocean pitch. What if we somehow got them to move the physical object itself out of the facility it was in to somewhere less defensible? I just put a pin in it. Just think about it. Just let it percolate in your brains.
What if we fold Oswald up into a trash can and put him inside the holding area, and then he can do a backflip on top of a shelf?
I just mean there have been a lot
of
data breaches in all of these various moon bases. It would make sense for them to want to consolidate some of this top secret information.
It's certainly
including what is potentially a horrible little robot mech suit, a Mithrigan, if we would. I believe the technical term is
a Mithrigan. And due to podcast time travel, not only is this not going to be like relevant and funny when this comes out, it's not even topical now when we're recording it.
Podcast time travel be damned. We're making dated references in real time.
Yeah.
I've also never seen this movie, so
Neither have I.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I highly recommend it. Not because it's good, but because it's fun. It's just really fun to watch. Like most James Wan movies.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Good. They're just fun.
Yeah.
I give it my 3 thumbs up.
So it sounds like
So
you're
are
not
we
heading
breaking
there.
into this?
No, we're
Okay.
No.
I really want this little robot thing, but
To be clear, it is not like a little robot body. It is like a weird computer they made to look like a person. Imagine if your tower looked like a...
Oh, so it can't move.
It doesn't look like it's designed to, based on what you're reading.
Oh, so it's not
Oh,
like
man.
articulated. Okay.
no.
It's just one
kidding.
big head.
Nah, your girl needs joints.
Yeah, exactly. She needs to be able to do the little
It's a MODOK.
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
wouldn't
for our audio listeners, I was very obviously doing the Megan
Yes, of course.
dance. Yeah.
The what
That-
dance?
The Mithrigan.
That's what I fucking thought.
Well, I think we have our episode title. As we...
Madcom episode whatever. Mithrigan.
Look,
Do
if
they
we
review a movie in this episode?
if we've changed it to 12 Loco, we can't literally use the title of a James Wan film. It has to be like
Yeah.
Matengan or
yeah.
something. Yeah, Moforgan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
it's the A
in
is
that
the
movie,
leet
her
speak
name-
instead of the E.
In that version of the movie, her
Negorn.
name is Morgan.
There we go.
That's so bad.
So
More
you will be
foreign.
traveling to Vani'kel. It will take you about 6 turns. You will get there with 20 plus turns to spare.
Right. We could get to Vani'kel early. We just don't want to get to...
Yeah. We just won't go to
You know.
your family's estate or whatever. We'll just hang out in Vani'kel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hooray.
The journey there, like I say, takes about 6 turn spans, and this is effectively downtime.
Excellent.
So, y'all feel free to spend XP to level up your dice or what have you. Give me something each of your characters does during this downtime. Like, how do you spend this week in transit?
I'm going to propose not a specific action, but a conversation that needs to happen, which is to say we need to talk about the fact that we're potentially taking on a new crewmate at the end of this phase. To
Oh,
both
yeah, we should
Vesnes
probably have a
and
plan for that.
Mira.
Yeah.
Like Vesnes, because it would be rude to just be like, hey, this new person
And you're
lives
getting a
here
new
now.
roommate. Yeah.
And Mira, because there's probably going to be potentially some big feelings about that.
I guess that's a good question, is how much of what transpired on Varmstead are you telling Mara and Vesnes?
I don't see any reason to hide anything from Vesnes.
I don't think it would be a good idea to hide anything from
No.
Mira.
Okay.
Okay.
Vesnes is totally cool with the situation. She, if anything, would start reading up on Cassandra and like reading her articles just to get a feel for her.
Mm-hmm.
She immediately digs the anti-establishment vibe that the Oracle presents. Mara would have an interesting reaction to it all, because I don't think you told her you were explicitly meeting up with Hector's sister.
We didn't.
Mm-mm.
We haven't even really told her we're like explicitly looking for him.
Yeah, but it's very obvious she sort of figured that out, because you told her you had just gotten a bunch of information from Hector, and she's kind of been explicitly told not to dig into it personally, which she has respected.
Mm-hmm. Though I actually, as part of this conversation, I do think we should start feeding her some of the information that we've already gone through.
Yeah.
I just think...
Like what?
It's important. It's the stuff that is, I guess, approved by the two people who have been going through it. I just mean, as we are going through this data, if we are not finding anything that's probably not like the videos, right? But stuff about what she is, I think is important for her to know about.
Okay. She would be pretty surprised at the existence of Cassandra, because apparently Hector never mentioned her.
That might be... I actually don't think that that's terribly surprising.
You might not. She does.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah.
We're not surprised that she is surprised.
Okay.
And I'm also not particularly surprised that he didn't.
Yeah.
I imagine it was pretty isolating to be suddenly swooped up, and he's also not
I mean, I would also imagine too that Hector kept stuff on a very baseline to monitor stuff and facilitate checked growth on what some would consider a program and stuff like that, rather than stuff going out of hand, right?
And also, I mean, he was super covertly leaving stuff for Cassandra specifically. I wouldn't be surprised if his thought process was, if I mention her, even if Mara talks about her offhandedly, someone might think that I, have had contact with her, and they might go digging and they might find this thing and I might die.
All
That's
very
fair.
Possible and true.
But Mara seems... I think upset is probably the right word. She seems put out that everything you've heard about Hector from Mara, and admittedly you've never had a really long conversation with her about their relationship, but she seems to regard him as a friendly figure in her pre-escape existence. She is a little pouty and upset that why would he never mention her?
I think sometimes when things are very important to people, emotions and organic thought processes we've talked about, are sort of nonsensical, and it can be hard for folks to be vulnerable about people that are very important to them. Sometimes people keep things close to the chest for one reason or another, out of fear of exposing that vulnerability, or sometimes just a desire to keep something, keep that sort of thing to themselves.
Playing close to the chest is a turn of phrase.
Are we all here for this conversation?
Yeah.
Are we all just sitting around the table?
We're in the mess.
And I figure this conversation is probably happening pretty immediately after you begin your warp transitions towards Vani'kel.
Yeah. It derives from playing cards and keeping your cards close to your chest so that other people don't find out what you're playing.
I see.
Mara, when you care about somebody, you don't want them to get hurt, and it seems like Agastec would have done certain things to guarantee Hector's work on this. So, keeping her out of it.
So by not mentioning his sister to me, he kept her safe because individuals at Agastec would have used her safety as a guarantor of his continued work?
Potentially.
I see. Is this a regular practice among corporations?
It's not uncommon, unfortunately.
One would hope
it
does,
was
uncommon.
But it does happen.
But it's not.
We don't tell a lot of folks about you for very similar reasons.
I believe I understand that. My continued discretion and secrecy keeps myself and everyone else aboard the ship safe from retribution by Aegis Tech Solutions, yes?
Mm-hmm. Now, with Cassandra coming to... Now, with the new baby coming... Now, with Cassandra coming to, ostensibly live with us, I mean, it's important to maybe set some expectations that...
We're not going to have any way to prepare Cassandra for Mira.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Out of character, though. Keep going.
Yeah.
I apologize, Elliot.
Yeah. I mean, but like, how do you prepare someone for Mara?
Probably not.
We haven't yet.
Yeah.
The Fesness will say, I was not prepared.
Yeah, neither was Mr. Zin, neither was Kala.
True.
And you're all doing great.
There's an extra layer there, I think.
There is an extra layer there that your projected form looks a lot like maybe Cassandra would have at the age that you look.
And we'll say, for the sake of this conversation, you all are in the mess, and because she has observed that you all are a little bit more comfortable when she does this, the small projected form of Mara is kind of like strutting around on the table. You don't think there are any hollow projectors capable of doing that in this space, but that doesn't seem to be stopping her.
This is a thing that would bother Kala, but not any of us.
Uh-huh. And she will kind of like cock her head to the side, kind of seeming to... It's this little like physical tick she does when you know she is accessing information that none of the rest of you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's doing the little dog head tilt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Except when she does it, she is accessing the vast caches of information that flow through her data stream.
Like dogs do.
Mike, you don't know that that's not what dogs are doing.
Yeah, dogs are on the internet. We know this. She will say, fascinating. I mark you, there is a significant resemblance. I'm curious as to why.
I was about to say, and maybe that's why Hector never maybe thought, could be another reason why Hector never thought to mention Cassandra, because he developed a visual that reminded him of her, so that, a piece of her would be with him while he was isolated and probably, scared.
If my projected form would cause someone distress, I can change it.
I mean, you should look how you want to look, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something we've talked about a lot, but...
I had not really given it much thought until now. But if my appearance would cause someone distress, I see no reason why it should stay the way it is.
I don't know that it would bug her. She just might be surprised. If anything, it's, as Shay was saying, possibly a sign he missed her.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, a question I never did ask Hector is why I look the way I do. I had always taken it as rote. Fascinating. I will give this more thought. I look forward to meeting Cassandra Lorikus, though.
She's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I would expect so. Hector Lorikus is the smartest person I have ever met. I would expect the same of his sibling.
Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes your siblings are...
Not that I would know.
Vesnes would ask, so is that the plan after this whole shindig on Vani'kel? Is track down Hector?
It's one of the better leads we have.
And it would certainly make tying up loose ends a lot easier. Just like orbital laser the Typhon out of the fucking orbit.
I was going to ask if this plan results in the destruction of the Typhon, because long-term goals, that is definitely near the top of my list.
Yeah. Honestly, half expected that it would have, I don't know, blown up already. Like, what did you do when we were, what did you do when we were in the Typhon? We never asked you, but...
And she's, weirdly quiet when you ask that question, and just blank-faced stares at you for a long moment, and doesn't say anything.
We do also know that her objective wasn't the Typhon necessarily when we were doing that shit, because Silvara was not on the Typhon, and
that's true.
The kidnapping thing was, yeah.
Eventually she will say, "This is a strange time for you to start asking questions about what I am doing here."
I mean, it's not like I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm not sure I care. Like, I wouldn't kick you off for, eating cookies in bed or whatever, but
I don't think that's that phrase at all, but
it is now.
It's now.
I will say I have greatly appreciated your non-involvement in my goings-on. It has been very freeing.
I mean, frankly, it hasn't come back to bite us in the ass yet, as far as we know, so...
Exactly.
That helps.
And she will just keep staring at you a little blankly.
Okay. Okay, Vesnus, wait a yes and. Anyway.
If you're not going to press the issue, she's not going to,
Yeah, Shay doesn't really see a point, was mostly bringing it up as cat. Hey, what did you do to Cromwell Silvara while we were on the Typhon as a casual conversation?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it doesn't super matter, I guess.
There's a few less teeth.
If he has, a tracker on him, that might be something, but...
It does bring up the point that, none of you have really been questioning what Vesnus has been doing on any of your excursions.
Honestly, whatever it is, we love it. Keep it up.
Thriving.
Okay. It came up recently, and I forget the context, but the fact that Vesnus seems to be the only person here who has an agenda counter, not necessarily opposite our own, but is a complete
from our
it's
own.
A complete unknown. And I forget there was something about it, about whatever Vesnus is doing or reporting to, that may be...
I mean, Amari's wife definitely brought it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's what that conversation was.
Just literally nothing about the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
We run a tight ship here.
Uh-huh.
No, we do not.
By tight, we mean the quarters are very cramped.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that conversation definitely happens. Over the course of the next turn span on your way to Vani'kel, what are some projects y'all are devoting some time to?
I'm assuming Shay is working on the birthday present. The birthday present not for the birthday boy.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Is it a family birthday, or is that just Septimus's birthday?
Do you want the answer to this question?
The answer is going to be that nobody else has a birthday.
Not until they've earned it.
Yeah.
I've
already had this thought and answered it for myself horribly.
The classic Amelia-ism does not apply to Oswald. No one's gonna take your birthday. Well, I guess no one can take your birthday away because you don't fucking have one.
What is a birthday?
Yes.
There are only 12 logo releases.
Get your star sign. What's your 12 logo flavor release date? Yeah, I mean, if Oswald...
Yeah, are you thinking about 12 logo astrology?
I'm now creating a 12 loco tarot deck in my head.
Because Vorpal Corp would have released one.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It's very expensive and very exclusive.
Yeah.
I do kind of imagine, though, that the art is 90s, kids' juices, where they're just it's like a skateboarder doing the hang 10 symbol a lot.
Very much Slurms
It's
McKenzie,
like Capri Sun meets Lisa Frank.
I would, Sunny D is definitely, in that realm.
Uh-huh. Unleash the power of 10,000 suns being destroyed at the same time.
You know,
Drink
Sunny
the
D's.
Yeah, drink the sun.
Drink the sun.
Yeah. Reminds me of the Dan Telfer bit. Daddy, can I eat the Earth? Can I eat Mars? No, you can't. Well, in our world, you can drink the sun.
Solar consumption is a new flavor.
Oh. Entropy tea.
It's not solar flare up.
It could be. Solar flare up is the mixed drink you make with it.
Oh, I was gonna say
that's
it's
the cocktail.
disease
Gotcha.
you get, or it's the rash you get when you drink too much.
You have a solar flare up.
It can be both.
It's treated by an ointment.
Which Vorpal Cobra also makes.
Correct.
Also,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
It comes cellophane wrapped to the can.
Completely unrelated to 12 Loco. I do actually
Is
have
that possible?
one. No, not anymore. I do have one thing I'd like to do, since it's going to be a whole basically month until this Vani'kel adventure. I'd like to determine, and also because we were speaking about siblings not having disparate intelligence levels, I would like to check in with the proctor on the Storm's Repose and make sure that my delinquent brother was in fact transported back to Akalar.
Within the time it takes to get to Vani'kel, you have a couple of correspondences with Proctor Frost back on the Storm's Repose.
Oh God. Yeah.
And it takes a couple of communications back and forth, like talking past each other, before it becomes clear that he thought you picked him up.
Oh my God. Anthony, no.
Oh, this
because like you get one message back and you're like, oh yeah, he got picked up, excellent, and then like the wording of it bugs you for like a day, and then just on a whim you type out, it's like, so who was responsible for the transportation?
Yeah, it's like,
Anthony?
have my parents contacted you? Like,
right.
Did he actually make it home? And he's like, no, you took him home.
Right.
Cool.
So, as far as you're concerned, he is in the wind right now.
So then I send a message just like, what, where, how? Just those 3 words. No. Yeah, I'll try to send one to Andoni too.
Okay.
I go, oh, I just don't get a response. Cool. All right. Yep, he's dead now, I guess.
What's your advanced tech die, if any?
Nothing. I have
okay, cool.
No
yeah, no, you get no response.
My mom is gonna kill me.
What is everybody else working on in transit to Vani'kel?
Amari hates to do it, but now hang on. Before I finish this sentence, nobody judge me. He's gonna call his wife, okay?
Okay.
Now hang on. And so, at least leave a message. I don't know if we have, we'll have to bounce off several buoys.
God, I hope she doesn't pick up.
No. It's not like not wanting to talk to his wife. It's what he's going to talk to her about. So yeah, if he could leave a message for her, that would be great.
So how long distance communication like that would work is, yes, you would be projecting a message across several communications relays that would eventually reach, presumably Aoka is where she still is your moon base you'd set up. She would then either respond back to you or send back basically a video link so you could set up a live conversation, but you'd have to basically sync up the time for you to both do it, because while you're in warp, that disrupts your communications quite a bit. So I guess what are you trying to set up a time in which you can talk face to face, or are you just trying to send messages back and forth?
I mean, if we can set up a time to talk, then that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, within a turn span, that's absolutely doable.
Sweet.
What is that conversation?
So he's basically Amari's having a conversation where, hey, here's an update about what we've just done, checking in and keeping her informed about what we're doing, but also a new request, and she's probably going to hate it. But if possible, is there any way we could establish a parcel of land and put Oswald's name on things? I need as many receipts and pieces of ownership as possible.
How big of a parcel, Amari?
Not a big one, just a chunk. Not enough for, like, I don't know, a small farmstead. I don't. We can put in language where it's only like legal upon physical, like, exchange with yourself or myself on, and it cannot be passed to any other entity at the discretion of, you know, our own, like, self. Okay.
I am not promising anything, but I will
That's
see
fine.
what I can do.
I know you don't like him. I deal with him. It's a rough time right now for Oswald, and I need him.
For Oswald, it's a rough time.
If you've heard the conversations with Oswald recently, it's the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
Layla will see what she can do.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what he's doing.
All right. I will get back to you about what she is able to put together.
Sure, yeah.
Shay,
we've already got a laser tag arena.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It's true.
I still don't think we've officially named that anything.
Oh, well.
Might be now, but
I mean, I am working. You thought my last PowerPoint presentation was transcendental. The one that I am currently trying to force myself to work on is, yeah.
Okay, so that means you are not devoting time to picking apart the data dead drop from Hector.
That's correct.
Okay,
I just
making sure.
I just have,
because you had given me a list of priorities about, like, what information you were trying to sift through and find within that dead drop.
Yeah,
and no progress is being made on that.
That's
okay.
Correct.
Good to know. Shay?
Well, I really want to get Oswald Octavian Theophilus IV caught for embezzling money.
You have a plan. You just got to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. I feel like my conversation didn't happen very long, so I can go help with data sifting.
Sure.
If that's what if you're worried about no one being there to sift through information. Yeah. So I'll go do that.
I mean,
so you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can also help with that. Like, my shit was all just messages.
Yeah. You don't
like
have to just do one thing. I'm just asking what you all are doing within, like, a 6-day period.
Yeah. It's just that this is going to, like Oswald's thing, this is going to be very
might be a bit more involved.
Intensive, I think. Yeah. So instead of, I'm wondering how different the difficulty would be of, like, transferring and like forging transfer data from one location versus a bunch of different locations. Like small amounts from a lot of different places that he would have access to.
Right. It would really depend on, I mean, for you, is it easier to cover your tracks once really, really thoroughly, or a bunch of times maybe not as thoroughly?
Yeah.
Would it be easier to track you down if someone managed to figure out what you're doing from one single location? Yes, 100%. So, I don't know. That's a 6 of one, half a dozen.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword no matter. Yeah.
But you'd already laid out your plan of making it look as though there is some kind of charity that is being stolen from, that is, in theory, being supported by Vorpalcorp. You want to make it look like Oswald Octavian Theophilus IV is stealing from that charity. Yes. And then you want to make that information public, all while not getting caught.
Yes.
Okay. And you're trying to do this without or with leveraging Red Cap associates.
I'm just trying to think. Sorry, dead air.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll put it to you this way. If you leverage help by mischievous entities on the metanet, it will be easier to accomplish, but there'll be more of a paper trail because there'll be people in the chain that you don't know the identities of. All you know is that they want to cause chaos in the corporate sphere, and so they're willing to help you.
Yeah. But they might go run in their fucking mouths.
You don't know who's a snitch. You never know.
No.
If you do it by yourself, it's harder, but all roads lead back to you, and you're the only responsible if you fail or succeed.
Yeah. I'm going to do it myself.
Okay. Because, if you leverage associates on the metanet, you could also maybe leave a false trail about things leading back to other Red Caps.
That's true, but then if those Red Caps, if they figure out I did it, then I'm fucked.
That's true. Okay. Well, I'm not going to have you roll just yet. I'm going to save that for a dramatically appropriate moment.
That's fair.
What I will say is the plan is now in motion, and that is now something you are actively working on, and may the gods have mercy on Oswald Octavian Theophilus IV's soul and bank account.
Or not.
While that's happening, Amari and Florian, you are sifting through data of the dead drop you got from Hector. You're going through the stuff that is less technical, because the two of you are maybe not as well versed in the nitty-gritty of metanet architecture and the creation of artificial intelligences, fey or otherwise.
I'm doing it from the comfort of text.
Sure.
It's just comfier that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I've mentioned before, a lot of these are video journals, essentially, and logs. So they're pretty easy to consume if some of the technobabble goes over your head from time to time. If you spend a good chunk of your time in transit going through this information, it would become pretty clear, depending on when you start going through them. I'm assuming you would split them up to have an equitable. You're not doubling up on going through these logs. It's okay, you take from this date to this date, I'll take from this date to this date. Figure it out. The earlier logs that you look at are very much a young man just out of college, looking to expand knowledge about how the Fey creatures function and work. There's a lot of misinformation that floats around. There's a lot of misinformation that floats around about them, and he's looking to cut through that misinformation and talk about the real underlining technological reasons that these entities exist in the first place. It's only after the first cycle of these more idealistic logs that it becomes about the nitty-gritty of okay, what this project is really solidifies as you watch these, and it becomes clear that the amount of resources being put behind Hector Lorikus specifically is not something he was expecting, and it becomes very, very clear within these logs that everything is being funneled into him. He's the wunderkind that is making all of this possible. We're talking about years worth of logs, so you don't get through even the vast majority of these things. But the early bits that you're starting to process now, it is painting the picture of an idealist who is really going about this for the pursuit of knowledge into someone who is now, like, being presented with this challenge in a way that he has found intriguing and enticing and is throwing himself into because he's being told that it's even possible. And he hadn't considered that. And that unlocked some part of his brain that is now just, like, flowing out in a deluge. So it becomes very obvious that this is an incredibly intelligent person, although someone whose intelligence is easily manipulated towards a goal. Because he keeps talking about, like, him being shown specific research data or him being directed towards certain pursuits. And, like, it's pretty obvious that even he isn't aware of which direction he's being pushed in. But because you have the context of, like, oh, I know what the end result of this is, you can see that he is being directed towards eventually this will lead to the creation of an artificial fairy. He doesn't see it in those early recordings, but you know that's where it's going. All you see in those early bits are the idealism and the zeal for the scientific pursuit. He mentions Cromwell Silvaro a bit as, like, his patron, essentially. Like, he's had direct contact with the CEO of this company basically since day one. And he keeps referring to him as Mr. Silvaro. You don't have access to Oswald's, like, filtering, so you're not necessarily getting all the information about Silvaro right up front. You're just, like, getting bits and pieces here and there as you sift through this. And yeah, that's basically what you would get within, like, a week's time, is just, like, this is a really enthusiastic kid who is looking to break down the misconceptions about Fae and figure out more about them. As you approach Vani'kel, you're technically outside of the Empire. Vani'kel exists as a merchant empire unto itself because it is the founding planet of Vorpal Corp, the largest corporate entity in the Dragon's Way galaxy. It stands as a bastion of commerce and open trade. The not-so-subtle secret of Vorpal Corp is because it is pretty closely tied to the Empire. It has, over the last few thousand years, basically made Imperial culture a assumed standard across the galaxy. That has caused a lot of friction in plenty of places. The biggest example probably being once Vorpal Corp started using the Imperial calendar, it was just sort of assumed that everyone would. And eventually they did. That rubbed some people the wrong way, the Dominion most of all. Before the collapse of the Minos Dominion, they had technically never used the Imperial standard calendar, and it caused trade issues across the galaxy. But this, make no mistake, is a corporate world. While on paper it is not owned by Vorpal Corp, Vorpal Corp nonetheless owns Vani'kel. If not for Vorpal Corp, Vani'kel would most likely be a part of the Empire. But because Vorpal Corp is almost a nation unto itself, and one of the strongest monetary entities in the galaxy, it can stand independent. Is that a comfort? Tough to say. You don't rest under the threat of an Imperial supercarrier in this system, but the Vorpal Corp friendly security forces that patrol the system for any kind of untoward activity are not unnoticed as you enter the system. Vorpal Corp messages welcome you to Vani'kel as you enter the system, and automated messages that would let you know that you're welcome to park at any of the many conveniently located Vorpal landing pads for a small fee.
We're with Oswald Octavian Theophilus III, so no.
This is the Friends
Oh,
and Family
please do not
discount.
mention my name.
Oh,
Wow.
Please do not mention that I...
okay.
It's gonna be one of those things
Friends
where,
and
like,
family
Oswald
discount.
doesn't
That's
know
very
us.
funny.
We're gonna go to the party. I
It's
don't,
very funny.
I don't know them at all. No, they're not with me. No.
I haven't laughed this hard in cycles. Thank you. Friends and family discount. I'll remember that one.
As you approach the planet, there is a strange sense of familiarity with the layout of this world. And you immediately know what it reminds you of, and that's Asclepsis.
Oh, beans.
It's maybe not as blatant and as garish, but this place is regimented to best suit the methods and society that Vorpal Corp sees fit. You are entering one of the heaviest bastions of corporate culture you ever have. Brace yourself for the experience, because you're on Vorpal Corp's world now. And don't forget, it's Vorpal Corp, the leading brand in everything. And what that encompasses will have to wait until next time. Because as always, you can find us online at MatcomRPG on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us at materialcomponentsrpg@gmail.com. We always love hearing from all of our listeners.
You can find me on Twitter at CryOutOlivia. I am always there talking about D&D and other RPGs and also just a lot of other nerd stuff. So come hang out.
You can find me on Twitter at Elliot C. Lewis. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, doing a lot of tabletop RPG and other fan art. You can also support me on Patreon and Ko-fi. Links to both of those are in my Twitter profile.
You can find me at The Readamus on Instagram and Twitter, where I post jokes and lots of photos of nature, so come check it out.
And you cannot find me on social media, but what you can do is support our show by rating and reviewing it on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Please, please, please do so.
Indeed, and finally, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at MKGorgoni, where I'm always happy to talk about all things material components. But as always, the world is chaos, so please, be kind to each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.